Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast, and we are still talking about the Crosstown Classic, our Crosstown Classic coverage presented by our friends at Hooters. And vibes are at an all-time high. That was the CHGO Cubs Takeover, first one ever, and you'll never forget it if you were there.
My favorite part of the CHGO Takeover at Wrigley Field was the friends we made along the way that led to us all hugging at the very end. Because I hugged the guy that stood next to me when Morel hit the homer. I don't remember his name, man, but we hugged it out.
You hugged it out. Cody embraced him and leg locked him like one of the girls on the Bachelorette, how they all jump up and it's a leg lock. That's what's going on. And then Cody looked at him and was like, I don't know your name, man. It was
I mean, I was high-fiving the guy in front of me who I was actually watching all night. He was Snapchatting his buddy, and they were just like venting to each other like about how much they hate this team because the Cubs played such a bad game. And then next thing you know, like he's just freaking losing his mind. So I like high-fived him. I'm high-fiving everyone else around us. Like it was an unreal moment.
I was standing next to Herb Lawrence from our CHGO White Sox and one of our diehard White Sox fans. So that was enjoyable. We'll get to that whole thing in a second. Oh, Herb, poor Herb. Man, I actually felt bad for him at the end of the night.
He was a good sport.
We're showing the picture on the live YouTube feed. This is seconds after Herb said, I said, here comes Madrigal. This is the Madrigal revenge game, Herb. And he's like, Madrigal revenge game. This is a guaranteed ground out to second base. I said, or it's going to be the worst moment of your life. The point when Nick Madrigal is about to hit twice as many home runs as Tim Anderson this season, and seconds later,
it happened.
there it went. And Herb just couldn't take it, so we took that photo afterwards. We had so much fun at the takeover last night that because we didn't have a live post-game show because we're out partying at Wrigley Field, the beer bat chug is coming today.
Yeah.
Sure, it's the middle of the day. Sure, it's a work day. Sure, we're at the office.
Big
that never stops Cody from an epic beer bat chug. And
man of integrity here.
It might be a double one. It might be a double beer bat chug. So it was that spectacular.
Okay. Yeah, no.
We're going to rank this game where does it rank in Cubs history? Where does it rank in games this season? Where does it rank in Cubs Sox? We'll talk about the negative. We'll talk about the Strowman injury, and we're going to talk about just how spectacular that whole night was. But first, Cody, time for your dedication and your beer bat. Feel free to chat. Thanks to everybody who's joining us, by the way. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. We're close to what, Steven? 36,000?
That's YouTube.
YouTube subscribers.
Subscribe
YouTube subscribers.
We're just a couple hundred subscribers away from 36K right now.
Let's do it.
36K. Maybe we could get to it then by the end of the show. Hit the like button and subscribe to the CHGO sports page so you don't miss anything. It's the best way to take part in the entire show. We're 120 because it's Cubs time, but man, we got a pretty good chat firing up already.
Yeah. This team, I can't say enough about this team, man.
What about Morel? By the way,
I'm speechless still.
While you're pouring the beer, the dope merch alert is out there. If you want vibes today after a win like last night, go to the CHGO locker right now. Or, you can get the Summer of Mike Tauchman at Obvious shirts like I did last night.
I wore mine yesterday at the park.
You can get that one. That's the lucky shirt I wore to the ballpark. We've got 3 new shirts, but Sweet Emotion with the Morel stripes on the cheek of the Cub.
Look at that.
Only 2 times in my life can I remember somebody stripping on the field or on a playing field or on a surface. One was Cuba Gooding Jr. after he did shoot the puck with me, and he made it, and he took off his shirt, and he whipped it around the ice at the United Center. And then Christopher Morel last night.
Yeah,
getting down to a nitty-gritty.
It's hilarious he did it. Because remember when Bodie hit that walk-off and they like ripped it off?
Yes.
Morel did it himself.
Morel did it, and Morel went
rounding third base.
Morel went bare chest. He went Magic Mike.
He
on the
realized
if I would have done something like that.
Pulled his own jersey off and then ripped
I
his
thought
shirt.
Cody was going to do it. He's not even wearing pants. We can't have him take his shirt off.
I'm saying if I would have been in his situation, I would have. I feel like I would have ripped the jersey off rounding third too.
No pants was enough. We didn't need you taking your shirt off.
Jim Barista said not like Cody to be speechless. I can't.
I am speechless.
I cannot agree more.
I legit couldn't. I could not go to sleep last night.
How do we want to do the beer bet? Are you going to do your dedication?
Yeah.
Emma, our intern, would like to join for a double.
Yeah. Emma, our intern's gonna.
We don't have two beer
bets. We're live on
she's gonna
TikTok
chug
right
along
now.
with- yeah.
You should follow us on TikTok.
Just
too. We're
shotgun.
live on
So you guys
TikTok.
want to both? Emma, why don't you go over to the
Emma's over
microphone?
here.
We'll call this a double dedication.
After she come over after I do it, and then.
All right, you do yours, and then Emma can do hers separately. It's the double chug.
Are you ready?
This is much better on
not ready.
YouTube than it is on the
It's
podcast.
1:30 on a Thursday, but vibes
Soon as
never
it touches the
vibes
lips.
never stop. All right, here we go. Yeah, this one's definitely for Christopher Morel. I mean, obviously, I don't need to say it.
What about Nick Madrigal?
I mean, the Nick Madrigal.
Michael
revenge game was
Fulmer.
fun. And I was trying to give her some options, man.
Oh yeah, all right.
All right.
Yeah, save some.
But I'm gonna
Save
give it
some
to
for
Morel.
Emma. Let's give it Christopher Morel.
All right, here we go.
Boom, there he goes. And he's off. Cody Delmendo, this is the beer bat chug of his life. He's trying to get it in under 10 seconds. He's at 5 seconds, 6 seconds,
Oh, it's dripping.
7 seconds,
It
8
is
seconds,
dripping
9
a little bit
seconds.
off the side.
Cody down the final stretch. He's done. 11-3-5.
I got 11-3-9 on mine.
Fernando was calling for a 10-8. He almost did it under 10,
my
but
God.
keep in mind, Cody is only on about 4 hours of sleep because he was out late night last night. Now he walked in. I said, "Welcome to my life."
How many beer bets did you do yesterday, Cody?
I didn't have one.
Oh,
I didn't
come
have
on.
one. I just need to get another one.
You
to
didn't
just
buy
check
one
out.
at Wrigley?
No, I did not buy one at Wrigley. Colada would be happy that
Is
I
it
didn't
Emma's
do
turn
that.
now?
Matthew
Yeah.
Gregory vibe with us. That was spectacular. Sean Caselli says this one's for Kevin
want me to pull
Tappan.
it for
Sure,
you?
why not?
Okay, I'll
Escanaba,
pull it for
Michigan.
you.
I need
You're going to give him your beer bat?
I'm
Or
pulling
you're
it for
going to
you.
do the beer bat?
I'm doing her a favor because first
Emma,
time,
and don't worry about Cody's lip fungus. It's non-transferable. Don't worry about it, Emma.
I'm
There's
gonna let
nothing
that
to
one
worry
slide.
about.
All right,
I need-
The doctor said that.
You're lucky he's in a good mood.
The doctor said the penicillin's taking care of everything. Don't worry about it.
Can we get some more likes, dude? We got 33.
Yeah.
We got over 100 watching.
33
Emma's gonna do
likes.
a
He
beer
just
back
chugged
chug.
a beer
Come
in
on.
11 seconds.
I need Emma to beat Cody's time for the bit.
Yes, that
of
would be
me
great.
making fun of Cody at every chance I can.
I will say that the first of all,
that is a great pour, though. I'll
in
give you
game
credit.
one
That's
of the
beautiful.
Crosstown series, the Sox guys mocked Cody
gotta
by
do it on
doing their
camera.
own beer bat chug.
Here's
they did
Emma.
2 of them. So this is two our
Yeah.
way. Oh yeah.
All right, here you go. Let's see. As soon as it touches the lips.
Hey,
I'm
you got to
ready.
be watching on
Hold on,
YouTube
let
for
me
this.
get-
This is an incredible
Here we go.
moment.
This is
Oh,
Emma the
hold on.
intern with her
No
dedication.
chance I'm hitting even 15 twice.
Let's
There's
see.
nothing
Come on,
but
Emma,
respect
you
for
can
doing
do
it.
it.
in general.
I'm
Yeah.
ready for
Ready.
it.
What's the dedication? Well, no, wait. The dedication first. You got to dedicate.
Take a breath.
Give her the mic, Ryan.
Nick Madrigal, obviously, because hell is frozen over because he's hit 2 home runs.
There's more homers than Tim Anderson.
Twice
There
as
you go.
many. Some
Twice
people
as
say.
many.
Okay, let's go.
Here we go. Emma the intern with the beer bat chug.
We're
She's
going.
at 2
Oh,
seconds.
it's
She's going to
fine.
take a quick break. She's in the
no,
obvious
she's-
shirts. A Friday 120.
Oh, a little bit too much.
She's
we're gonna
struggling
slow
with-
down.
Boy.
I'm struggling.
Emma said she can really chug beers, but it's different when you're doing it out of bat, which Trip
Exactly.
Lawrence once told us. There's a
Oh,
lot
there
of
you
foam.
go.
Yep.
Wow,
There
Emma,
she
this is
goes.
still
There she goes.
impressive.
There
Still
she goes.
impressive.
Home is
Nice. Well done.
Emma
Well
the
done.
intern.
Got
Wow.
about little 20, about 21-ish.
That
20?
was a minute 30 seconds faster than Cody's first attempt at the beer bat chug.
20 seconds? That was good.
It's
20
about-
Yeah,
seconds.
look at
That's
you.
high.
about 10 minutes faster than Sean's.
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
other
say,
day,
Emma,
too.
you did not.
It's
beat
very
Cody.
big of me
You did
to
beat Sean.
allow everyone to remember what
There you
happened
go.
the very first time.
Credit to Cody. He let her do it. Credit to Cody. Now, Cody's next beer bat chug should be dedicated partly to Emma for doing it in 20
Yeah,
seconds.
for sure.
It doesn't
Considering
have
it took me like a minute and a half.
Did
the
you
very
did you
first one.
did you scooter ride here today?
No, I drove.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're done.
You're
beer
going to
bat
hang
chug.
out here for a few hours.
Yeah, I'll hang out. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh man,
All
nothing
right,
says
there
a
it is.
double.
Got there.
Nothing says vibe like us, like a double beer bat chug.
yeah, brother.
Less than 24
Let's
hours
go.
after
With the
an
Shady
epic
Rays on. Look at that.
crosstown win. at Wrigley Field. It was spectacular.
Christian A. Emma is vibing.
Vibes.
Emma is, yeah.
Vibes.
Fernando, Emma finished up strong. I saw thanks Goose Island.
Yeah, thank
Matthew
you, Goose
Gregory,
Island.
get it on. Listen, here's what we really want out of the Beer Bat Chug. Everybody that's in the chat, if you're working from home today or you're, getting ready for school, whatever it might be, have someone videotape your Beer Bat Chug and time it and tweet it to us so we'll show it. We'll put it right on the show. If you can Beer Bat Chug it right now and time it, and before the live show is over on YouTube, we will take that video off Twitter and we will put it on the live YouTube feed.
At the very least, we'll retweet you if it comes after the show.
Oh, wow.
So
Big of us.
Here's the deal. We all know the setup was there for one of the most devastating crosstown series of all time.
Oh,
Yeah.
To split, the stupid trophy was going to go back to the Sox. Who cares? But you're in the middle of a pennant race. The other team is like 25 games under 500. They're punching each other in the clubhouse. The other guys that aren't punching each other are sleeping on couches before the game. They're bickering back and forth. The fans have given up. Everybody's mad at the owner, and you were going to lose back-to-back games on your home field. It was going to you were shut out for 7 innings by Mike Clevenger.
Yeah.
A scumbag.
3 hits, 2 walks, no runs.
But then-
for 7 innings.
Tucker Barnhart was pulled for pinch hitter Nick Madrigal.
No, that's not what started it off.
What started it for you?
Michael Fulmer.
Fulmer? All right,
Michael Fulmer absolutely
Get in those
started it
We'll
off.
three
get to
strikeouts.
Fulmer in the next segment. Offensively, what got them
Okay.
going after 7 shutout innings? Nicky 2 strikes?
Nicky Barrels.
He's Nicky
Barrels.
Tater Trot
Did he barrel
now.
that?
Nicky Tater Trot. He likes to go around the bases for free. Second time this season. Steven, did
did
you ever
you-
think you'd see it?
I first off, I never thought I'd see a home run in general, let alone 2 in one season. I want to know, did you yell "Thanks Sox" after he hit the home run?
Well, it's one of the first things I said. I did tweet out, can anybody at home tell me, did Boog Shambi actually yell on the broadcast, "Thanks, Sox," after
Did
the
he? I have
Madrigal
no
homer?
idea.
He did not, but I was hoping he would have.
Would have
because
been-
that would have been the ultimate troll.
It would have been an ultimate.
So instead,
troll.
I just tweeted it out.
Yeah. Big
Sorry,
of you.
I actually love Jason Benetti. He's great, but that was a total troll when he did it at the time with
Absolutely,
Eloy Jimenez. And this home run was way funnier than that. Way funnier. What was the expected batting average on the home run?
.090.
However, to give him credit, it's a home run in 13 ballparks.
13 homers.
13 ballparks.
13
Well,
ballparks.
yeah, because there was like a 20-mile-an-hour wind blowing out the second he hit it. There was a strong wind out to left.
Hey, man.
I kept saying to Herb,
Whatever.
Herb, he's still going back. Herb, the outfielder's still going back. Herb, they're still going back.
You're telling me that with the wind blowing out that the Cubs couldn't score for 7 innings and the White Sox can only score 3?
Herb's
Now,
not happy. Herb's not
after
happy
the
in that
home
picture.
after the home run is hit and all this, it's still a buzz, but it's 3-1 at that point. Then you get the play in the top of the ninth. Hap throws out
Elvis
Elvis Andrus at
Andrus.
second base,
Yeah.
and there's a vibe. And I looked at Corey Friedman, who was our buddy Corey, teammate, sitting in front of me, and I said, Corey, that's what the whole game should have been. That's the type of vibe this whole game should have been. The Sox doing stupid things that cost them a win.
Well, you think about earlier in the game, like it was Hap who had that error that eventually led to one of the runs that scored. It was an unearned run on Assad. He had that error. He booted that ball in left field.
Yeah.
So for him to come back and watching that play from, you guys were at the ballpark too, so you could actually see the whole play in front of you. Like Elvis Andrus, I don't know why he went. Hap had the ball as soon as he was already rounding
He got
first.
soaked up
It
in the
was-
emotion of the game, I think. I
It
really
was,
do.
It was a bad read on Andrew's part. It was Hap. If my memory serves me right, I don't think Hap even came up firing the ball to second. I think he got up and kind of looked up and
Yeah.
saw that Andrews was going and as he fired into second. It wasn't like this guy's going to second base. I need to get the ball out as fast as possible. I don't think he expected Andrews to go to second. In my opinion, I wouldn't have if I were him. But obviously he did, and Hap made up for an error, an actual error in the outfield earlier in the game. He had that one on a fly ball that was deep. It was a tough play. It wasn't an error obviously, and it would have been a tough play to make anyway. But people will still not give him credit for that one. But either way, he made up for it by getting Andrews out, getting Smiley a clean ninth inning, score wise, and just keeping a guy off second base, out of scoring position, getting the Cubs to the bottom of the ninth where they were able to make some magic happen.
Man, I love the chat just all jumping on there. We love Nick Madrigal. I used to hate him, but I'll defend him to the end of the world now.
It was nice to be able to watch a former White Sox player beat the White Sox, considering the amount of times we've seen Eloy have good games against us, see Dylan Cease have pitched some decent games against us. Like the whole troll job that Jason Benetti did that like literally has been something people have been shitting on us for the last, 3-4 years. Like, it was nice to see someone that the Sox gave us do something against him. I still feel the same about him as I did before he hit the homer, but hey, pinch hit appearance. I think he was down 0-2 in the at bat, or at least he was down 2 strikes for sure. And all it was a solo shot. It was still 3-1 when he hit it. Like, it wasn't at that point. When he hit it, I was just like, I can't believe when it happened. I couldn't believe that he actually did it. I couldn't believe with my eyes that he hit the homer.
I was yelling.
That's what I was more
time.
like. Yeah. I was mind blown. It was almost like the same feeling when Morel hit the homer. I couldn't believe what I just watched. That entire game last night was just like, am I dreaming? Like, is this real? Is all of this a simulation? Like, what is this?
Well, it's funny because that works for both sides. Like, you're probably saying that as Mike Clevenger is shutting down the entire lineup for 7 innings. You're probably still saying, am I dreaming? Is this actually happening? And then it flips to the other side, but that still works.
Yeah, the Luis Robert home run in game 1, shushing the fan, flipping him off. Like, that was their World Series. And then I saw, we're making comments on Twitter last night, and Sox fans are all over me, and they're like, oh, this is your World Series. I'm like, well, no, actually, that was 2016. Much more recent than yours. The chat is on fire. We've got almost 160 people in there on a Thursday afternoon, and a super chat. I didn't catch the name. Max saying thank you for this community, something like that.
Thank you for this show. It's good. Yeah, can you get that on the screen, Jake?
I can also find it. There it is. Thank you for this show. It's a great community. Max Steffen, $2. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for the vibes. Make sure everybody hits the like button so we get well over 100 today. We'd appreciate it.
Jake has stepped in for Steven now. So
Steven, I don't know if you guys know, but our producer who started the show, Steven, is a diehard White Sox fan. He usually produces the Sox show. He couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't handle the heat, so he got up and left, and Jake has come in, our boss, and he's taken over. Steven needed a moment to breathe. He just needed a moment to breathe.
Yeah. Credit to Jake.
Credit to Jake
for taking over Steven, who just couldn't handle the facts anymore. Couldn't take the heat.
Go Cubs, go.
Oh, wow. That was something. So Madrigal hits the home run, and we're giddy even if they're going to lose the game, to be honest with you. I'm still giddy because I called the home run. But then on the summer of Mike Tauchman, I bought the Tauchman shirt at Obvious Shirts last night, our collab shirt. On the summer of Mike Tauchman, Christopher Morel said, hold my blanking beer. And he walks up to the plate.
Hold my 3-1-2.
Yeah, hold my 3-1-2. We got 2 of them over there that have been cashed out already. And he comes up to the plate. Now, remember, Madrigal hit that with 2 strikes.
Yep. Yeah, Ryan confirmed it. He was down 0-2.
All 3 sweepers. Yeah, he was down 0-2.
2 strikes. And then Morel comes up, and you could tell Morel was in Javi mode. Sometimes they're the same guy. He was going to swing until, if he looked like Bugs Bunny in the old cartoons, he was going to spin himself into the dirt trying to hit a home run. He had struck out against Santos the day before, badly. Looked terrible.
Yeah, leading off the 9th, yeah.
Right? And so he comes up and swings out of his cleats the first 2 times, and I look at Herb, and I said, Herb, that Madrigal homer was 2 strikes. Look out. Here it comes the walk-off. And Corey Friedman had asked me before I said, Corey, we're going to have a walk-off here this inning. Corey goes, who? And I go, Morel. So when it happened, Corey literally lost his mind. And I can't remember. I think it's a Kiva. I'm sorry, Kiva. I hope you're watching today. He's a new viewer who just became a diehard. We met him at the bar at the Takeover. I sat next to him for a couple innings last night.
And he said that he just recently became a diehard, too.
Yes.
Like within the last week or 2.
The night is so foggy. I can't. Yeah. I think it's a Kiva. He's got to get in the chat. He was telling us he wasn't sure how to get in the chat. When he gets into the chat, I want him to remind us of everything because
he's like you. He's really bad with technology.
And I said, don't worry about it. Technology is the devil, but it's wonderful at the same time.
You know what's hilarious about that Morel home run? StatCast didn't even record it. There is no recording of the exit velocity. The
It probably was by NASA. Probably has the actual recording. On that
but it was like you asked, like we talked to Madrigal after the game, and he said like that from his point of view, Morel hit that ball. Like he said, he didn't think it was high enough to go out, and from his point of view, like it wasn't high enough to go out from his initial thought, but that Morel hit the ball probably as hard as anyone can hit a baseball to get that.
Yes.
That is Nick Madrigal's point of view. StatCast probably agrees because it couldn't even track it. Mm-hmm. It was insane. And it's funny you think back to that one, his walk-off sac fly last summer. And there was that clip of him looking back and Wilson like kind of telling him to breathe and settle down in the moment.
Yes.
And we talked to Morel also obviously after the game, and he referred to Wilson. He said like Wilson kind of taught me in those kind of moments to just like stay in the eye of the hurricane, like think about yourself and only what you're doing, focus on yourself and focus on the moment. Like just different ways to kind of relax in that moment, because for a 24-year-old, maybe he's 24, yeah, 24-year-old slugger down 0-2 in a count, like with the game on the line, in a what felt like at the time like they can't lose this game. Like
No.
In that moment, it's very easy for a young guy to get flustered or
But
a
no
little
player
nervous, whatever.
No player on the team is more about vibes than Christopher Morel.
so
maybe ALLCITY, but position player, it's Morel.
He talked about like kind of just thinking back to what Wilson told him, relaxing himself in that moment, and then obviously you see what came from it. Like that was like he relaxed himself in the moment and let the energy. He released the energy as he started rounding first base.
Doug Van Dorn in the chat, he says, I laughed my butt off watching the Bears pod last night and seeing Braggs totally lose it when Morel hit the walk-off.
Yeah, because it was right as Adam Hogue, Sox fan, was rubbing it in that the Sox were about to sweep the Cubs at Wrigley Field, and that was their World Series. And there's a slight pause, and Bragg starts screaming.
When we
and
put
the
the video, when I say that I only got 4 hours of sleep, sure, yes. I went to the bar after the game. I had a couple beers, whatever, hung out with Corey and my friend Kim who came. But I also went home and I couldn't sleep because all I did was watch the highlights over and over and then watching CHGO videos that CHGO was putting out. And that includes the moment from when Braggs like saw that Morel hit the homer, and then he just like he went full meatball, like take that, Adam. It was one of the funniest videos I've seen,
because he was really laying into him about it just a little bit early.
And that's what those guys do.
Game's not over.
And also like it was actually also kind of awkward because like Carm, he's a Cubs fan, but like
no, he's not. No, he's not. He's converted. Don't you dare let Carm come back to the Cubs, because he converted to Sox. And he was the guy mocking us at the beginning of the season.
He was.
When the Cubs had just one win over 500. Will the Cubs ever get back to 500 this season? I said, wait a minute.
He did say
I thought
that.
You used to be a Cubs fan. He's like, I switched. I'm a Sox fan. He is not allowed back on the big blue train.
I did not know that.
You go down with that rotten team of a dumpster fire on the south side.
I was not around for that moment. The only reason I said it was because he did give me credit for saying that what I said at the beginning of the year would be correct. And at this moment, it could be still correct. I haven't officially been proven wrong. So because he's been trying to shove down my throat all summer that they should have sold at the deadline. And so like what I was getting at in that video, Braggs is all excited. Nick and Adam are just like, fuck. But Carm is just like sitting there like awkward, like he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know if he should be happy or sad.
Pushing Brad.
You know why? Because he's a flipper. That's why he's a flipper.
He just didn't know what to do.
He couldn't decide which side of the bass he wanted to be on. And, he was like, should I be on the right side of the pier or the left side of the pier?
Yeah, man.
That's why.
One insider scoop here. After I know the person who booked that Airbnb, it was me, and I wasn't concerned at all. But they had noise monitors in that Airbnb, and so I'm like, it's Bears preseason joint practice with the Colts. This isn't going to be a problem at all. But of course, the Cubs are probably going to be the people. The Cubs last night are going to get us some extra charges in the Airbnb for
too much noise.
The noise complaint. So I thought that was pretty crazy because it literally scared Law. Like Law was like, I thought something really bad had happened, but it was the opposite.
Well, let me tell you, I will say this. The first 7 innings were slow, but there was still a great vibe at Wrigley Field. Like the Crosstown still gives you that.
And they had 40,000 both games.
40,000. The fans still love it. Even if the Sox or Cubs or both are terrible, the fans still get into being able to ride their buddies or random strangers wearing the other shirt, the other hat. So it's always a great time. That's why the Crosstown is special. And people in other cities other than New York don't get it. They just don't get it because you don't have two teams.
Yeah.
Some don't even have one team.
And LA, I guess, too.
Some don't have one team that's popular. We have two teams where you have rabid fan bases. Obviously, the Sox fan base is not as big as the Cubs fan base, but it's outrageous. And I've been at Wrigley Field for some really special moments, okay? Last night, I was there as a fan when they were down to the Rockies, and I remember, would they come back? 12 runs. DeRosa hit like a grand slam.
Oh, it was like 9-1 at one point.
Yes.
DeRosa hit a home run.
I was a fan for that game with some friends and saw that. When they clinched the NLCS, I was like upper deck because I had to do post game as soon as the game was over. So I went for the final out up behind, before the total renovation, right behind home plate, very top, looking around where the press box is, and I peeked out, watched it, soaked it in, then went back, and I looked down on the square of like the Cubby Bear and Clark and Addison. So that was cool. I have now, and then games that I was fortunate enough to have a job where I was in the dugout or sitting next to the dugout, right? Like,
yeah.
So I've seen greatness at Wrigley Field and excitement in many different locations. When you're down by the dugout, there's a different feel because the noise is being pointed at you, right? So the players are feeling this like sound going through their chest. It reminded me of when I used to go as a fan as a kid at the old stadium, and when they'd introduced Michael Jordan, you would feel the innards of your body. You would feel your lungs literally rattling as the sound waves were moving through your body. Last night, the old landmark was rocking. When he hit that home run, the old landmark was rocking, and I thought to myself, we're 2 rows from the top of this stadium. Our CHGO Takeover tickets were not front row. We weren't even in the second segment, right? We were 2 rows from the top of the stadium, and it did not hinder the excitement or the enjoyment of the game. In fact, I looked around afterwards, and I thought, we're with the real fans. We're hanging out with people that signed up to be diehards because they are diehards. It's everything that we're about. You weren't jumping up and down in a suite with a bunch of fans that really didn't care and paid $5,000 to have the suite with their friends and they're drinking martinis. You were there with the real fans at the top of the stadium, eating their hot dogs, slugging their beers, and having a good time. And whether it was Cubs, I didn't see any arguing. Sox, Cubs. The Sox guys next to me, Herb couldn't have been more gracious about the loss. Every Sox fan couldn't have been more gracious about it, to be honest. They just were quiet. But I thought it kind of summarized everything that we're trying to create, right?
Yeah.
Fun for everybody.
Yeah. No, it definitely is like when we talk about community and all that stuff, that's one of those games that helps build it, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're in the ballpark, as you guys were. I mean, I was in the press box. By rolling.
Did the press box rattle? Because sometimes the press box will rattle.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. Like, I mean, it was up there with great Cubs games of all
insane
time. You'll never forget it.
Yeah. Well, we will get to like the Strowman stuff. Like I had pretty much had that written yesterday.
Yeah.
Then this happened, and I had to completely start from scratch.
Change the whole day.
I was I'm not gonna lie. I was happy we didn't have a show yesterday because I would have been there later than I needed to be. To do the post game show and to just completely start all my work from scratch.
Man, Sean, I wish the godfather of the CHGO Cubs podcast, Michael Collada, could have been there. He's got a sore heel. He didn't think he'd get all the way to the top. I think Cody and Collada probably would have wept together in each other's arms.
Me and Collada would have hugged it out.
There would have been a serious hug.
At the very least, I would have hugged him. You know what I mean?
There would have been weeping. There would have been...
To, I guess, go off what you guys were saying based off like what we're trying to do here and everything. Like, this is a little personal. Everyone knows, like, I didn't grow up in Chicago. I didn't grow up in the suburbs. I don't think anyone at this company outside of me is from downstate. Right,
and
Jake, me and Jake. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was thinking of the.
leader,
I was thinking
What
of
you're saying is Jake
con-
doesn't count. That's okay.
Yeah, no.
I was thinking of the content team. Sorry, Jake.
Thought it was home for
Anyway,
a minute.
the point is
doesn't count.
the
You don't
point.
count, Jake.
The point is like I didn't come to Wrigley Field for the first time until I was 20 years old.
Right.
All right. And then when they were good in 15, 16, 17, those years, I went to maybe 1 or 2 games each of those seasons. So what I watched with my eyes last night was the greatest ending that I have ever seen at Wrigley Field. I won't say that it's the best game I've ever been to because that game sucked outside of the ending, but I don't think I've ever felt like I did last night afterwards.
Yeah.
Like ever. And like I always think back like when I was younger like that, like, man, what it would have been like to be at Wrigley when Aramis Ramirez hit that walk-off against the Brewers back in like 07, or even games that they lost, like when Kosuke Fukudomi had the opening day, like that 6 RBI home run, like the 9th inning home, like even though they lost that game, like I wish I would have been here or been at the ballpark for that. Like
Tony Campana's inside the park.
Tony Campana's inside the park. Like
could have been there.
That, or like, you know, like even like when they were winning, like in 15 when Bryant hit the home run to beat the Rockies, the walk-off. Like that's honestly what Morel's homer last night. That's what kind of gave me the same vibe as if I was watching the Bryant homer all over again, because I did exactly last night what I did after Bryant hit that homer against the Rockies in 15. I went home, I couldn't sleep, and I watched that highlight over and over and over. Yeah. Like those kinds of moments, like that last night was the first time that I got to actually be at Wrigley Field for a moment that people will talk about, not just the rest of this year, not just next year, a very long time. When people, especially when the Cubs and Sox play the Crosstown series, the Cub marquee, whoever, they're always going to show that highlight when they talk about like great moments of the Crosstown Classic.
Now they will say the last walk-off home run instead of being a Aramis Ramirez. Cubs walk-off instead of being a Aramis Ramirez, it will be Christopher.
We will get to that on this show, where this one actually should rank. I see we got a super chat from Eric saying,
I will also say,
I would have read this if it wasn't a super chat. He says, I agree with everything Stucky said, vibes.
Eric said that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Edward.
Appreciate
Elric.
super chat.
Okay,
Elric.
Edward
Elric.
I think the Henry Blanco walk off on my 10th birthday may still be my personal number one.
Esteban Quiros game.
That's yours.
When Esteban Quiros got you in, who you got?
No, but that was like I mean I wrote it, I said it yesterday. Like that's one of those moments that like regardless if the Cubs make the playoffs or not this season, like whatever happens the rest of the year, like that's a moment that people are going to talk about for a long time. Not, it's a crosstown classic, a walk-off homer, like everything that went into it. People, and especially that's Christopher Morel, right? Like everyone loves Christopher Morel.
Right.
That's going to be a moment that people talk about for a long time.
It was a great moment, just like it's always a great moment, Cody, when you walk into Sunnyside.
Oh, man. I had a great night because I went to Sunnyside. I won't go more into that. But Sunnyside was a great start to my night. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer. A one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs, no matter where you are on your cannabis journey. Easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Great transparent loyalty program. Sunnyside Rewards, Illinois' favorite dispensary. Some of the favorites. The Sunnyside House of Brands include Mindy's, which is the best tasting gummy and chocolate edibles created by James Beard award-winning chef Mindy Siegel and Cresco Labs. You got other ones like Cresco, High Supply, Wonder, and a lot more. Through August, head to sunnyside.shop and use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order, one use per customer. Not stackable with other promotions. That's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code. Pick up everything you need to elevate your summer. Must be 21 plus or an Illinois Med card holder.
Very nice. Very nice. Hey, guys, Hooters is your spot to catch all the games this season. Step up to our plate for the world-famous wings, delicious seafood, stacked sandwiches, salads, and more. Tons of great beer specials. And $6 drinks all day, every day. Check out the seafood specials, $19.83 for a pound of crab legs, and great prices on buffalo and steamed shrimp. Hooters is celebrating 40 years in business all year long. In honor of the anniversary, on the 4th of every month, Hooters is hosting throwback events, bringing the 80s back with 83-cent wings and other great specials.
83.
Get ready. The next one is coming up September 4th. Hooters, your place to be for the big game.
Absolutely.
I would say that there were only 2 negatives to the actual game last night for me. Like, it was a slow start. Don't get me wrong. There was the Strowman news, which we're going to talk about here. That was one of them. One thing. I did look in the 7th inning when things were still low and it was, the Cubs had no runs. And I was, to be honest, going to leave the ballpark early and try and get a do-right donut. And I told Corey, I said, I think I'm leaving. I'm going to go get a do-right donut. And I looked over and it was closed. Closed for the night. So, thanks to Do-Right closing early, I didn't miss one of the greatest I was going to try and come back in, but if it was the 9th inning and it was still 3-0 and I had 2 donuts in a bag, I was probably going to take off.
Also advantage of being in the upper deck.
Exactly. It was a long way down. It was going to take me a long way. So I looked. Anyways, Do-Right was closed. That was one. And number 2 was, it was awesome to celebrate with the diehards for our takeover and be there in person. The only negative was to not have this chat with us live, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing was like we were able to celebrate with the diehards that came, but we weren't able to celebrate with Barb, who was probably wondering if we were going to be live.
Yeah.
Because we have 194 people on a Thursday afternoon during what is now school day, work day, summer's over basically. And Sean says, yes, Jimmy Carter is live. All right, so let's talk. You said the game was garbage or the game was bad. Somebody said something like that prior to the Madrigal home run.
It was,
and then you said Fulmer, and you're right. That's where the game. Cody said that I was having a bad time, basically. It wasn't that great. Fulmer turned it around.
It was a bad game for 7 innings on the Cubs side. I mean, Assad pitched well, kept them in the game, 6 innings, 2 earned runs.
Gave up. He had one bad pitch to Gavin Sheets.
Yeah, had a second consecutive quality start now that he's in the rotation, which I will talk about that in connection with the Strowman.
Did he go
stuff,
6? I couldn't remember.
He went 6, yeah, because and then Mark Leiter Jr. had a good 7th inning, so the pitching was fine.
6 and 2 earned runs. Don't forget that.
Runs.
That was a good start.
A quality start. That's what they, especially a guy that's kind of one of your back end guys right now. That's what you're going to need out of him. But so he pitched well. Mark Leiter had a good 7th inning. Pitching was pretty much fine. It was the hitting. They couldn't get anything going against Clevenger in the 7th inning. Or through the 7th inning. There was just nothing
outside of 2 innings. 2 innings, they had multiple guys on.
And they wasted those opportunities, right? I think
it was all with no outs, too.
They were 0 for 6. Prior to Morel's home run, they were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
It was setting up to be a very annoying, devastating loss.
So, but then you get to the 8th, Jose Cuas comes out, and he'd been fine. He'd been actually really solid his first few times with the Cubs. And he comes in, I think he gave up a hit and then walked 2 guys, is my recollection. I know Benintendi, when he walked, that was like the highest White Sox win percentage. Actually, Jake, I think we have the graph of the win percentage, or win probability thing somewhere in there. But that was
the win probability was at that point.
And when Andrew Benintendi walked to load the bases against Jose Cuas in the 8th inning, that was the peak of the White Sox win probability.
What was it, like 110%?
It was insane. You can see it on the if you're watching live right now. You can in the 8th inning, you can see where on the White Sox side how low it gets or how far it gets to the White Sox direction.
Yeah, all the way.
And that is when Andrew Benintendi walks. Ross comes out, takes out Cuas, and throws Fulmer in to a bases loaded, nobody out situation. And we've talked about Fulmer all year. When he was the closer, he had some struggles. He had awful BABIP luck, and that you can't just discount that. Like, he was getting, his stuff was good. It just some of the underlying things, like the BABIP was insane, and that was part of his struggles early in the year. But since he was moved out of that role and into different higher leverage, clean up an inning, middle inning, get it to the back end guys, he's been a lot better. He's been really good for the Cubs for a while now, and so he comes into that. And it's one of those moments where, maybe Fulmer in April gives up some runs, and then that's the game. Fulmer right now, honestly, I was like, I think Fulmer could get out of this. One of the riders next to me,
3 strikeouts.
I didn't know about. I didn't say 3 strikeouts. I think Fulmer can get out of this. And he goes out, strikes out Luis Robert.
That was
strikes
the big
out
one.
Yohan Moncada
Yeah.
and strikes out Andrew Vaughn like that. Yeah, now
Once
it wasn't
he got
just like,
Robert, it gave you hope that maybe they could get the double play.
it wasn't just getting out of the inning. He
But he
got
struck
through
them
the
all out.
heart of the order. Their number one best hitter coming up with 3 guys on, nobody out. That was as ballsy a situation that you could have put Michael Fulmer in.
They don't
and he
win
came
without
through.
Fulmer's inning. That's
Absolutely
for sure.
not.
You know who else they don't
Absolutely
win
not.
without? Smiley. In fact, as you were saying this, I was just going through the names. Every single key player in this epic Cubs win over the White Sox in the Crosstown is a guy who that at some point this season,
We've all been yelling about.
somebody in the chat has yelled DFA this
absolutely.
guy, right?
DFA, yeah.
Smiley, people have yelled it about.
Fulmer.
Leiter, people have yelled it about. Fulmer, people have yelled it
People
about.
screamed it about
Madrigal,
Michael
it has
Fulmer.
been screamed about.
Yeah.
And even
Not
Morel,
so much Leiter this year,
Not
but
Morel
Leiter last
being
year.
DFA'd.
Yeah, it has happened this
Not
year for
Morel
sure.
being
Really?
DFA'd, but Morel being demoted.
Yeah.
I've seen it many
Or
times.
bench him. Yeah.
Every single guy has had a lot of slander shot his way, and it comes up with one of the biggest wins of the season.
For me, Fulmer is the turning point in that game because, again, the pitching was great
all-important.
for that, but this was a moment where had the Sox even scored 1-2 runs in that situation, which I think the probability tells you they score at least one normally, right? I don't know what the percentages are of that, but had they scored in that inning, that game is different. That Nick Madrigal's home run may make it to like a 3-run game, but it's 3-2. It doesn't seem that much different, but that late in the game it is. Morel's home run isn't a walk-off. You never know what's going to happen after that, but that is for me the turning point in the game was Michael Fulmer coming out. Nails strikes out the heart of the order and allows Nick Madrigal obviously to come in and just kind of keep up that momentum, hit that home run, and then everything that happened after that was just, in my opinion, just building on the momentum that the Cubs got from watching Michael Fulmer, who's had his doubters and critics this year for sure, come into a situation where I'm positive there were people out there saying, "Oh, he's going to give up a grand slam right here," right?
Yeah.
Positive people.
Guaranteed.
There were people with zero confidence in Michael Fulmer in that situation, screaming, "Why is Ross bringing in Michael Fulmer?" And he goes out and just dominates the heart of the White Sox order, makes them look silly, nearly throws an immaculate inning. He actually was asked about that after the game. He's like, "It popped in my head, but like I didn't want to throw a strike slider." So I think it was Vaughn. It's like I wanted to, see if he didn't chase, but then I got him after that. Like nearly throws an immaculate inning to get out of that. To get out of that bases loaded, nobody on situation like that. Everything after that to me is like that shifted the momentum in the Cubs' favor, and they were able to get it done on the last 2 innings.
Even Hap, who has had a tough time in left field, including last night, you've heard people saying bench or do this, whatever. Somebody saying DFA in the chat I saw. Without that throw to second base, that's another run potentially that comes across. Like, it's a big play to throw him out at second base. It was a dumb base running move, but it's still a big play to throw him out. So all of those things.
It
are
almost
cool.
looked like Andrus wasn't even running that hard too.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking.
Like
was he not watching?
it almost felt like he thought that it was like, oh, this is an automatic double. Like he thought it was like he was gonna have no issue with that, and then he got halfway there and he's like, oh shit. At least based off just watching the replay of it.
I don't want to give too much time to the Strowman thing. We did a little short YouTube thing. You can check it out. Cody and I did it.
Corey says
From
that he always
hometown,
believed in Nick
or almost
Madrigal.
home.
Corey's
Big of him.
choosing to lie today.
Yes, Corey did always believe in Nick Madrigal. He always believed that I said Nick Madrigal was going to hit a home run too, because I did.
Anyway,
I don't want to say
interrupt
too
you.
much about Strowman, but another reason I think it was a big game is, I'll be honest, that I said at the bar prior to the win, and I still don't know, prior to the way they won that game, when the Strowman news came out, I said they're cooked. That's just me being honest. I don't know that they can I still don't know if they can overcome that. But a win like this maybe is something that can help you wash away all of the negativity that had to be going into this game. You're losing a guy who was first half of the season in Cy Young conversation. He's supposed to be your 1 or your 2 in this rotation. So it was horrible news. What good comes out of that is that Assad pitched the way he did again for the second straight game. So he's a guy that's going to have to do that.
Yeah. If
they're going to get to the postseason, Assad's going to have to pitch like that the rest of the season. And somebody else likely is going to have to step up. Drew Smyly pitched and got a couple important outs last night too. And it sounds like Smyly, who has struggled late in the season, showed you that he could get some outs. I was thinking, wow, maybe he's going to be effective in the bullpen, but David Ross has said basically he's going back in.
Yeah, he's leaning towards Drew Smyly to go back in there. Yeah, I think a lot of the as far as like my own like confidence, I think this team could make the playoffs. A lot of that hinged on like assuming or being confident that they were going to get a healthy Strowman back.
Me too.
And a healthy Strowman being a good Strowman. I think a lot of my confidence, and that took a hit obviously with the Strowman news. He's out indefinitely. Like we don't know. He could pitch 2 weeks. He could not pitch again as a Cub. Like he could never pitch again in a Cubs uniform.
He can't even throw again until he doesn't have any symptoms.
Yeah, so we don't know when.
So you're going to have to ramp back up.
We don't know if he ever will, or if he will pitch again the rest of the season. So I think that kind of dinged my confidence in this team as far as being able to weather the storm and keep making this playoff push. Javi Assad has been pitching very well. Whatever role they've asked of him, single inning, long relief, he has pitched pretty well. He's looked like a guy they can kind of count on. He's gonna have to he's improved with every increasing role they've kind of given him, and he's got to do that again now that he's taking on. I mean, he's already in the rotation, right? So it's not like he's taking on this gigantic role, but him or not having Strowman means that he's going to have to make sure he is better on a consistent basis, right? Like you don't have that guy that the Cubs were hoping to have at the top or at the front of the rotation with Steele consistently throwing out great starts. Like Javi's going to have to step up. Drew Smyly, from what David Ross said, he's leaning towards putting Smyly back and giving him those starts. He's had his struggles, like very well documented that he's had his struggles. So he's going to have to be better. Wisniewski's an option, right? Like,
but he did say he's leaning heavily.
He's leaning heavily towards Smyly. But like talking to Jed Hoyer yesterday, that about potential prospect call-ups and being aggressive with that. He did not rule it out. He said, like, right now they're not focused on that. But there are still a lot of games left to be played in the season, a lot of innings left to cover, a lot of starts that need to be made. That's possible. A guy like Jordan Wicks, potentially, right? So we'll see where all this goes. Losing Strowman for however long they're going to lose him would sting, considering they were confident he was going to make the start yesterday. And they were confident that healthy Strowman was going to be more like the Strowman we saw in the first half of the season. But now and everyone said it, like they're at the point where it's like, you can't really wallow in it. You can't feel bad for yourself. You have to say, you know what, it sucks that they're not going to have Strowman anymore, but we need to step up and just and continue to play well. That's what Jed Hoyer said. That's what David Ross said. That's what everyone said. It's like, does it suck that they're not going to get Strowman back right now? Yes, but they can't waste time feeling bad about it. They have to. Everyone else has to pick up the pieces, has to pick up some of the slack, and make sure that they perform and whether this.
Listen,
losing Strowman for however much longer it is.
It's the autumn of the ass man. Like
that's what I said.
It's the autumn of the ass man, and I can't believe I'm.
Did he try to steal another one of your phrases?
Credit to me. I said that yesterday.
I have given Luke all the credit about the ass man.
Credit to me.
Okay.
But the autumn of
the autumn of the ass man.
Print the shirt. Another collab with obvious shirts. Autumn of the ass man.
It's the autumn of the ass man.
Where were you for the autumn of the ass man?
Okay. I can't. Now I'm losing my train of thought.
Hey, ass man.
He was good again last night. Quality start. He had that great start in Toronto, so he's coming off 2 good starts. You got guys in the locker room who thinks he's the best pitcher in baseball. Listen, I don't know if I'm not saying that you need him to be your number 2 or your number 3, but you need him to go out there and at least give you 5 innings of quality baseball every 5th day. I feel good if he can continue to do what he's done his last 2 starts, given the circumstances. Tyone, I know his start against the Blue Jays wasn't great, but overall over the last, since the All-Star break, since the start in New York, he's been good. Hendricks has been quality. Like, they have a deep enough bullpen to where it's like if you can just get 5 innings and then hopefully when Justin Steele pitches, he can give you 6 or 7. I feel like there's a way that maybe they can, just kind of ride it out. But yeah, I do think that they're going to need to call up someone from Iowa. I think it's the perfect opportunity for someone like Jordan Wicks. I'm not saying you throw him in the rotation as much as I would love to see it, but you're going to need some help.
Because Ben Brown is injured.
Yeah. But like I'm just saying that it's an opportunity for someone. And we've seen guys come up and like they've contributed in some sort of way. Most of them that have got called up this year, a lot of them have done something that we didn't expect. Am I going to expect Jordan Wicks or whoever to come up and shove 7 innings down people's throats every 5th day? No. But if they can come up and like be in a piggyback role, maybe it is Wisniewski, like you mentioned, Ryan. Like I don't know, but I don't mind doing something like that. If the Cubs one day are facing an almost all righty lineup, all right, put Hayden Wisniewski, sign him up to pencil him in to start that day to, maybe go 3-4 innings, maybe more because he's having a good day. I don't know. I know he's not necessarily fully stretched out, right? I don't think because he's been in the bullpen, right? So he doesn't have – you'd have to get whatever. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I think they can weather the storm a little bit just considering where they're at in the division race and in the wild card. And the fact that the offense outside of these 2 games against the White Sox has been pretty good in the second half. And you won yesterday because of a home run. So yeah, to me, it's going to be all about the offense here the rest of the way. You're going to need average pitching at least. You're absolutely going to need them to at least give you 5 innings more often than not, at least. If your name isn't Justin Steele, you're going to need 5 innings at least out of everyone else every start. But I think their bullpen is good enough, and I think the offense has played well enough to where they can weather it, and hopefully we get better news on Strowman in September. It sucks, but I'm still in. I'm still in.
Here's how you get to the playoffs. You throw on your Shady Rays. You get your Maverick vibes this weekend with the Aaron Waters show. Maverick was buzzing the tower at Wrigley Field last night. Wait till they play the Royals for 3 games.
Yeah, we'll see.
And Maverick and Goose are flying the tower. They're going over the scoreboard. They're flying through the scoreboard. I thought of Shady Rays right away.
Yeah,
Ryan.
Maverick and Goose are doing that. They need to have their Shady Rays on. Mm-hmm. Take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. That's what you get with your Shady Rays, and that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day 1, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase. Together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through Shady Rays Impact. From building playsets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime, Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and for years to come. If you don't love your Shady Rays, exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. And exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. You can get some like Luke has right now. If you're watching the YouTube live, Luke's got some nice
Maverick vibes.
Yeah, Maverick vibes with the Shady Rays. So try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. That's shadyrays.com. Code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized shades.
By the way, yes, Doug Van Dorn in the chat, they are the seasons of the North Side. We go from the summer of Mike Tauchman into the autumn of the Ass Man, hopefully into the winter of Shohei.
Oh, boy.
Don't by the way,
talk myself into it.
You want to talk about vibes. The CHGO Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill is next Friday, August 25th at 9 a.m. Jake, we still have a couple of spots still open for this. 18 holes with a cart. You get the exclusive CHGO Pins and Aces golf towel for all players. We're going to have hole contests, giveaways, prizes, lunch, drinks. There's going to be a ceremony after the round. Diehards, of course, get the 20% off discount. And diehards always get 20% off all the dope merch and all the events that we have. Dope merch, you say dope merch?
Dope.
Sick drip stuck, you say? Sick drip? Yeah, we got all kinds of sick drip for you. We've got the Summer of Mike Tauchman collab shirt that I'm wearing. You've got the one that's the font style, old obvious shirts collab style, the Summer of Mike Tauchman 2023. We just put out the Belly Bombs one as well at allchgo.com. And we also have the, what one am I forgetting?
The Sweet Emotion.
Oh, the Sweet Emotion. How could I forget the Sweet Emotion? So we have all kinds of Cubs merch out there for you to check out at allchgo.com. And of course, diehards also have the opportunity to read all of the written content. Ryan does great stuff at allchgo.com. He's working hard in the press box and in the clubhouse. Most of that is available to everybody, but not everything. Some of it is locked up behind the paywall, and that's where you make sure you're not missing anything by signing up to diehard. Like I said, some of the diehards there last night were telling us they were new diehards. They were excited to get the content. They're ready to join us and have a good time, and we hope to see a bunch of you out at the Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill. I know I'm going to be ready to go 9 a.m. I'm predicting. I've never played a course. I've never played Cog Hill, and I'm not a good golfer. I'm predicting like a 125 for me. And I haven't golfed in 2 years. 125 strokes for all 18.
125?
But then again, we are playing best ball, I believe, right? It's a scramble. So
correct.
hopefully I get matched up with like Mario Tirabassi from the Blackhawks podcast. He's a sick golfer. So hopefully I get matched up. You need one ringer in every foursome.
You won't
That's
be
all you
paired
need.
with me. That's for sure, because
No, you
we'd be
can't-
chasing our balls on each side.
Well, it's
of
going to
the
slow.
fairway.
You can't have four. You can't have four of me in any foursome, because if you do, it slows down the entire course, and you'll be there for 3 days trying to finish 18 holes.
We're going to put you behind that group. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, looking at the weather,
Yes.
83 degrees
83.
for next Friday.
Is
at
there
this
any
place.
way we can reach
Godfather.
out to Clark from Displays and see if he could be in my foursome if it's going to be 83?
I love that.
The Godfather said it's a beautiful place. He's been there many times. So,
Cog Hill?
yeah.
Boy, we
Godfather.
missed the Godfather. He said he really was proud of us for giving it to Herb a little bit after
did
the
say
game.
that.
We didn't really rub it into Herb because Herb was so good about it. Now, Sean, on the other hand, disappeared.
He did
I-
disappear, yeah.
Sean went on a bathroom run in about the 7th inning, and all of a sudden, Mr. White Sox was gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if he saw the Madrigal homer and he just couldn't take it. I don't know if he had to go back into the trough and hurl after the Madrigal homer. I don't know what happened,
Oh, my
but
goodness.
we never saw Sean again. So the question is that the best game of the year for the Cubs? Is that the most epic or important win of the season for the Cubs? Because there are some really...
I don't think
Memorable.
it's the most important.
It was not.
What are the other ones?
For me, it was not the best game of the year because they were pretty bad for most of it, and that is a concern that their offense was kind of lifeless against the White Sox for 2 straight games. Like,
Yeah.
a bad team that they just really could not put a lot of offense up against for 2 games. That is obviously a little bit of a concern going forward. Winning cures all, and people aren't mad about that, but they would have been had Morel not hit that walk off. So I won't
Summer
say
Mike Tauchman is number one. I don't remember how they played the rest of the game against the Cards.
I'm saying it's not their best game.
That's 1-0 against the Rays.
That might be Marcus Stroman.
Luke is just guessing now.
No, I don't know.
Well, I'm curious what you... So
I was waiting for him to say.
If it
But what I'm
isn't
trying to
that,
say,
what is it?
I'm saying is it's not the best game because the game was pretty bad for 7 innings. It was probably the best moment of the season, and maybe the moment that kind of launches
Maybe
them
the most important,
and refocuses and re-energizes the team.
It's the best
And maybe the
ending.
most important moment is Morel's walk-off, is what I'm trying to say. That game overall was not a very good game for the Cubs, but they capped it off the right way, and that may be we might look back on that as the most important moment of the season. The other
Yes.
ones, Mike Tauchman's catch in St. Louis is up there for sure.
Ian Happ throwing out the runner against Milwaukee. I
How
put
about the comeback on the South Side? The other takeover.
yeah. Well, see, I was
It was
gonna
definitely
say
a good game for them.
I can't put it higher than this one, though.
I was gonna say the catch that Tauchman had only because at that time we still didn't know if the Cubs were buyers or sellers, and I felt like when that catch was made, that they became
moved it forward.
that they became buyers, and even Jed is admitted to that in press conferences. So if Tauchman doesn't catch that ball, if what's his name Burleson walks off the Cardinals against the Cubs in that series, who knows what happens? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that one game would have shifted. Oh, we're sellers now, but at the time there was still a lot of talk of like, oh, the Cubs are they're going back and forth. We don't know. So I do think that catches, or that moment, that game was, you know, and how it ended overall. Yeah. I mean, it was a great game. They won 3-2. Like, to me, that's the best game of the year. So
yeah, I mean,
Tauchman, and I would say that the Cardinals are a more important rival than the White Sox, even though they're not good this year. They are a division opponent.
I think you say those games against Atlanta. Again, overall game wise, like moments, obviously the Morel, the
Sunday game against Atlanta,
the two blowouts against the Reds were great games from the Cubs, like important games for them to take those games. People I've seen are pointing back to the comeback against Seattle. Yeah, ended with the Velasquez grand slam.
Cubs legend.
Like that's a very good game from the Cubs. Like if we're talking about games overall, as people are agreeing with me in the chat, like that was a bad game from the Cubs.
It was,
but it did produce, in my opinion, at least a top 2 moment in the season. Tauchman's catch may still be.
Talking about moments, yeah.
Tauchman's catch may still beat it.
I don't know.
I'd put it above Tauchman.
This was
in terms
at
of
home
moments.
and because the game was so horrible up to that moment, and
the Cubs played a good game against the Cardinals.
I will also say, if Morel doesn't hit that grand slam, the Cubs don't necessarily lose that game. If Tauchman doesn't catch that ball against St. Louis, they lose that game.
Yeah.
That game is over if he doesn't make that catch.
If Morel doesn't hit the homer,
I guess they still have another at bat. You still have
they had 0 outs.
There was new outs. Yeah. You guys still have 2. You just have Candelario and I can't remember.
And you're not even saying if he doesn't hit the homer.
One was at Wrigley. That's why I say like a home crowd like that with a quarter of the fan base that was there being your arch rival across town.
It absolutely was an awesome moment. But as far as like winning games, like the Tauchman one is the one that won a game. Like Morales did, but it didn't lose it.
Kevin with a super chat.
Wouldn't have lost it.
Kevin with a super chat, 499. Cubs will be in first by the end of the month. Brewers' schedule is tough. And I will,
they're on the verge of getting swept by the Dodgers tonight.
I was thinking about, the way they celebrate and just comparing it to other great Cubs wins. I was thinking of the comeback against the Rockies with DeRosa, but this was, I think that the fan base would have erupted in a pennant race like this, no matter who they were playing. If this would have happened tomorrow against the Royals, the reaction would have been the same, but you cannot deny that there was more juice to it because it was the White Sox. Even though they're bad, even though they're in the American League, there still was a quarter of the fan base that was at that ballpark that was screaming at you for 7 innings. So the fans that were there, it was absolutely epic. And by the way, we didn't reveal our who you got results last night. Ryan came in and we were like, "Why?" I mean, obviously, if somebody had Morel won. Mm-hmm. Nobody had Morel.
No one had Morel.
If somebody had Madrigal, they won. Madrigal. Nobody had Madrigal. I believe I won with Bellinger because he had
hits in the double play.
He doubled off Luis Robert at third, which saved a run, and then he had the leadoff double in the 9th inning.
I had Happ, who threw out a guy.
But he also had the air and left.
He had to have the air.
It kind of, no, I said it was Bellinger.
Who would have thought that? Like, I mean, one of the greatest moments of the season, and nobody picked the guy.
Well, he's been struggling coming into that game, honestly. So hopefully this is a sign that he's going to start to get hot again.
I'm going to channel my inner Big Dave here. The thing from me sitting over here watching you guys and just watching these moments, the great thing about sports and the great thing about the Cubs this season is these moments are happening, and you're able to experience them, and they matter. And the Cubs are 2.5 games out in the division. They're in the wild card spot right now. They went from like a single-digit playoff probability team to now over 50% as a playoff probability team, and we're almost to September. Like, it's right around the corner. Like that for Cubs fans, like that's what caring about sports and baseball and this team is all about. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, and this is like, we think back to like what Dansby Swanson has said, what a lot of these players have said, and it's like these guys go to the ball. I mean, yes, it's a job, right? Like they get paid they get paid a lot of money to play baseball, and that's part of it. But they're also like competitors, and at the end of the day, like they want to win. They don't want to lose baseball games. They don't want to sell the trade deadline. They want to win. and be in the hunt and be playing meaningful baseball as long as possible through a season. And had the Cubs gone the other direction at the trade deadline, that moment still would have been very cool.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, it's like the Cubs are, at that point, the Cubs are out of the playoff race. They've sold the trade deadline, all that stuff. Not doing that and going for it and making these games mean something allows that moment that Morel had last night to feel even bigger than it already would have had they not been. Were they not in the position they're in now? Would that moment have still been pretty awesome? Sure, but it felt even bigger because that win could still boost them even further along in this like playoff push that they're in right now. And I think that's what going forward, going for the win, not deciding to sell the trade deadline. I think that this is where you see the value in doing that because these guys are winning games. And they're winning games that mean something.
Man, you got to go to Foco right now and get the Morel bobblehead or the Madrigal bobblehead, or head over and get some of their cool stuff, get fitted out in the best sports gear around, hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. Aloha shirts, Ryan, that's where he hits it up. Polos, bags, everything you need for a game. Our set decorations, pretty much always brought to you by Foco. They gave us a bunch of cool stuff. We've had a lot of great bobbleheads. Our Clark the Cub is from there, the Wesneski. Check out Foco.com. Click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. And don't forget the CHGO Crosstown Classic coverage has been presented by Hooters. Your spot to catch all the games this season. Step up to the plate for the world-famous wings, delicious seafood, stacked sandwiches, salads, drinks, specials, and more. At Hooters, it's always easy to pick a winner. 11 Chicagoland locations. Visit originalhooters.com for more info. Thanks to everybody who joined us in the live chat. Pretty great group, live at a 1:20 on a Thursday afternoon. Thanks to Emma, the intern. Very impressive beer chug.
Yeah.
Cody with a beer chug also. And thank you to everybody out there for all the vibes. Hopefully they go for a sweep against the Royals. Corey's going to join me for pre and post tomorrow, so we'll be live right back here. Ryan's going back to the ballpark.
I'm going to the ballpark, too.
You're going back for the vibes.
Yeah, man. That's why Corey's coming in for me.
Yeah, you're going to the game.
I'm going to the game.
We might check in with you.
Yeah. I might send a video or something. I'll be out there with my guy, Matt Menace, a.k.a. M-Bone HD. Does a lot of TikTok live like watch-alongs. I'll be with him and his girlfriend. So, yeah, if you're in left field.
Hey, shout out to Mike Dubs, who we got to meet at the takeover at the pregame, and he came all the way from Minnesota. Got to see that game, flew home today.
I saw a guy yesterday as well. This was before the takeover, but like during the day when I went to go meet up with Mike Dubs in the neighborhood, some guy recognized me, came all the way from California. We went to get last night's game.
Was it Cody Bellinger?
No. Oh. I wish it would have been, though. But yeah. But he said he was all the way from California, I believe. So,
anyways,
Omar said, "Who likes Mexico tacos?" Me. Let's end the show that way.
I like tacos.
Let's end the show that way.
I like tacos. I like vibes.
I like vibes. I like tacos.
Hey,
I love the.
I usually end it by saying, "Fly the W." Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. This time, #Vibe with us.